Hey guys, BJ here, back with another deck guide for you, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Zagstruk, Zag from the Orks. So many of you probably know Zag actually got a recent buff in that his Warlord talent, which has always been a little bit underwhelming, actually got reduced by 1 and only now costs 1 energy every time we want to play it. So I came up with a deck. Alright, so what I've gone and done is looked at my old Zagstruk control build and kind of brought it into the modern age. And this deck's doing really well. Really good. And I kind of knew it would because, well, I just feel like whenever I build an Ork deck, it's just always good. It's just the old reliable faction, isn't it? You know, we know what we're going to get. But yeah, let's take a look. Now, obviously, what do we get with Zagstruk? Worst temper, costs 1 energy, and it gives him +1 melee, flying, and armor. And what I said before about Zagstruk is that you want to make the armor count. So, outside of Ghazghkull, I actually think Zagstruk is the most resilient warlord. So does well with the heal, can actually survive fairly late into the game, does well against unstable explosions going off, right? Because if you obviously armor up, knowing that you're going to trigger an unstable, then if that would say do 2 damage, it's now only going to do 1 damage, things like that. So he's actually a pretty resilient war boss when you play him right. So what I've kind of gone for is a kind of hybrid of like the Gaz control and the kind of Gruk version, but with some key differences. So let's go through the deck. Alright, so of course we've got the best legendary in the game, Makari the Grot, and we also run Prophet of the Waaagh. Zag doesn't, unlike Gruk, Zag doesn't have natural card draw, so we need to have card draw built into our actual deck design, and Prophet of the Waaagh helps us to find what we need, right? Whether we need the Will of Gork, or the No Mukkin About, or the Proper Killy, Prophet of the Waaagh is a really nice Swiss Army knife for finding that. Now we do run double Stormboy. This is a good early game drop. I often drop it on E4 as a proactive drop, but of course it combos well with the Veteran Stormboys as well. I've got a single Proper Killy as a win con. Now Proper Killy on Zagstruk is very good. Combined now with the cheaper hero power, that basically means that we could put him up to 4 damage, and then with Makari that's 5 damage attacking twice. So that's 10 damage essentially from hand that Zag himself can do with, as long as we've got Makari. And of course if you add a Warbiker into that mix, that's 15 damage. So that's a 15 damage from hand to face. It's really powerful. It's really impressive. So even better than, again, the reach is even better than Gruk. So your opponent's got to watch out. Now, I am running 1 because I find that 2 is a little bit... you often will end up just sitting with one of them in your hand. You can run 2 if you want to go for the consistency of it. But I find 1 is enough just because we do have quite a fair bit of card draw in this deck as well. We've gone for the Pyromaniaks. And that would probably be the card I'd drop if you're going to run a second Proper Killy. But I like Pyro. I think it combines quite well, especially with some of the flankers. If you're going to play it with a flanker, or if you're going to play it with things like the Irongob. Yeah, really like Pyro. Deals with stealth. Helps finish off big units you don't want to hit, all that stuff. Now, we've then gone for Tide of Muscle. Now, I think that, I can't stress enough, guys, this is like a really important card to play when you're running this type of deck. And I think it's the card that a lot of people always try to scrimp on, but I've said it often in certain metas. It's correct in Gaz as well. Not when you're in like fatigue wars. That's when you drop it from Gaz, but we're nowhere near that at the minute in the meta. So I think Tide of Muscle makes sense. It's drawing through 2 troops. That means it's thinning 2 troops from your deck, which means that all these brilliant spells like Will of Gork and stuff were more likely to draw into. Sorry, I'm rolling my eyes. I feel like I've made this deck guide a million times and said these things a million times because I've played Orks so much. But this is like fundamentals of the faction. Like, you want to be consistent, and therefore you've got all the tools you need in Orks. All the tools. The only thing that can mess you up is not drawing them. So things like Tide of Muscle things like managing your resource and how you filter through your deck really matters. So this card for me is really important, and the troops that you do draw get +1 as well, a la Gruk. So you know, this is pretty cool. And then we got the double Warbiker. That's why we want to throw these away. You know, if you draw one of those off a Tie the Muscle, that then comes out at 5. You obviously put that next to Makari. It's now doing 6. With the Zag combo that we talked about earlier, that's now 16 damage you can do from hand. All these things can mount up. We do run the Irongob because this is excellent for heal and stalling our opponents for a turn. It's also pretty good against stealth, right? Because if your opponent plays stealth and you can't interact with it, sometimes that's a good turn to play Irongob down, hit the Warlord, which stuns the Warlord, and then the stealth unit's like, what are they going to do? They're going to come out of stealth and they're going to hit your face, and then they're going to be stunned in their next turn. So it's quite a nice counter to stealth. No Mukkin About, because that's just solid hard removal and deals with stealth as well. Obviously the Ork Nob to help us get more flank in the mission. We've got double Skorcha Assault. We've got 1 Boomdakka Snazzwagon. I do like 1 Snazzwagon in Zag because 2 reasons. 1, because we're going to take the Grot rigs as our defense, which means that we can essentially play Snazzwagon on turn 2 if we want, making it cost 2 cheaper. And the other thing is that Zagstruk actually has resilience to the unstable, as I said at the beginning, right? So armoring up, we're a little bit more resilient to that. We do run the double Boss Nob in here for more heal. We do run the double Skarboy for more protection. So this deck can go very late indeed. Do good stuff. Obviously, we've got the quad, what I call the 6 quad, which is the 4 6-drops that we can't leave home without. The double Squigbuggy and the Veteran Stormboys. If you're new around here, then you obviously, Veteran Stormboys can have a nice combo with Stormboys, giving them flank, so that's one to look out for. We also run the Kommando, and I've started running Kommando more and more in my Ork decks, and instead of Ardshell, like Ardshell is a big boy, and he's going to be the target of hard removal, and Ardshell's very good against Aeldari. It's the only exception, but I mean, even against Aeldari, he dies to a Hemlock, but outside of the Hemlock, they really struggle with Ardshell. The thing is that we're not running anything else that's big. So, I kind of like Ardshell when you're going to run things like Stomper and stuff, because they can't use hard removal on everything. But in this deck, you've literally only got one like major big proactive unit. And the good thing with Kommando is they can't use the hard removal. Obviously, Orks can, because they can no mucking about it. Anything that's targeted, you know, they can't remove it. So it's another win con. We got the double Will of Gork, which is clear boards. And again, being able to, you know, imagine like turn 10, for example, being able to Will of Gork, then you can play Makari and play your Warlord power now to suddenly just do 4. I mean, yeah, Will of Gork. What else can we say about Will of Gork, guys? If you're new to the game, it's one of the best removals in the game. And then we got the Rok Invasion. Now, I ummed and ahed a little bit about Rok Invasion. I think you could drop Rok Invasion if you want. If you don't own this legendary, don't worry about it. Play a second Proper Killy instead of Rok Invasion. They're both kind of win cons, so you could definitely drop the Rok Invasion for a second Proper Killy. I like to run it. I think there's some meta decks at the minute that struggle with go wide, and so suddenly just playing Rok Invasion, dropping that on the board, they're just like, there's just nothing they can do. So I like to like mix my win cons up a little bit, because I think that I feel like I've got a chance then against whatever I'm playing. But feel free to, if you don't own that card, to drop that and run the second Proper Killy. I think the deck will be just as good pretty much with that combination. Alright, so that is the deck. Now when it comes to the mulligan, I generally throw away Warbikers in this type of deck. We want to be using it as a finisher. We want to be pulling it from Tie the Muscle and things like that. I would always keep your Stormboy in the opening hand. Skorcha Assault can be kept as well. I also think that Grizzled Skarboy, unless we're playing against like an absolute tempo beatdown, I think Grizzled Skarboy I quite like to keep on the 5 in case we can play it out on 5, because if we can get that armor early, then it can be really difficult for a lot of decks to beat us down. Outside of that, certain matchups like often against Chaos, I will keep a Mucking About, or like against Abaddon, I'll keep one Mucking About, or even sometimes a Will of Gork. I don't know what against Ashton Militarum. I've not played that match enough to know whether I should do that. Just quite good sometimes to just have that hard removal. I think obviously I'd keep Prophet of the Waaagh, and of course Makari as well. That's mainly what we're keeping. You can throw away Proper Killy, you don't want that in your opening hand. And you can also keep Ork Nob as well. Alright, so let's jump into some games and take a look at how this deck does on ladder. Alrighty, oh, it's Magus Nass. Okay. Actually decide to keep a Will of Gork, and we go with a Slump Overkill. Now this is quite good because we think making the troops cost more is going to hurt Nass more. He wants to play them down as his tempo, and we have access to our cheap Warlord power and Makari, and honestly we have some really good stratagems. Things like Will of Gork now, it's almost like we're bought an extra turn to be able to play that, because it costs him one extra to play his unit. So I think overall we benefit from things costing one more. It slows the game down, and that kind of benefits our style of deck more. So here we go, Makari and Worst Temper. So he takes 4, we take 1 because of the armor. Just a horrible combination for him. By the way, that costs 2 energy now, normally to play Makari and the hero power. I know we've put Slump Overkill on, but normally that's 2. To essentially be better than Gordrang, because Gordrang does 4 damage, but our guy does 4 damage with 1 armor, so something to consider in terms of looking at point for point on the energy. We're going to get rid of the poison supplies, we definitely don't want to keep that. We'll go ahead and just drop Makari again and clear this guy off. So he's played the Underground Network, so annoyingly now every one of these sabotage cards is going to cost 1 more. We're not going to give him Day of Ascension approaches. So we're going to get rid and just drop Makari. Now we're up to E6. I always feel like a sigh of relief when I'm playing Orks when I hit E6, because I'm like, I know like most of my deck is online once I hit E6, so all my flankers can do their thing. Obviously it's a bit different in this game because we're making things cost more. So Stormboys come on, we can drop Makari and pretty easily deal with this unit. That gives us quite a nice board. So he's going to drop a flanker, deal with this, and of course he's threatening the old stun next turn. So melee drop damage in with the flank. This little guy out. I think we're going to ignore the jam communications on this turn. Obviously, we want to get the Squigbuggy out to deal with this. We're actually going to drop Makari between the units. It makes it a lot harder for him to remove with, like, you can't just hit the Squig, for example, and get the explosion. There we go. Makari defense.
We will overwhelm all who stand against our ascension.
So the Benefactus comes down and finishes that off. But we're at 13, so we can drop the Warbiker here. Play Makari. Puts that up to 15. And of course, Proper Killy and Worst Temper gives us another 10. And that's all she wrote. GG. GG. Alright, next up we got Imotekh. I'm just going to keep Makari out of that lock, I think. Nice to see the Stormboy pick up. We're going to drop Makari and Worst Temper. 4 damage to him, 1 to us. I think this time we're going to Worst Temper. I'm going to use the Prophet. Probably take the Grizzled Skarboy there. Guess we get the opportunity. Okay, we've got a nice proactive E4 turn with our Stormboys. Attack there. Okay, so he kills one, but obviously he spent 2. It was actually a pretty good turn to play like the Boss Nob. But one of the things I've learnt with Orks is like, might not necessarily always look like the best thing you can do that turn, but when you can get Grizzled Skarboy on in a like where there's no pressure, then often you've just got to take it, because it can become an awkward. It's a great card, but it can become an awkward and clunky card if you miss those opportunities. So using the Stormboy out here just means that he's pretty immune to the Lich card, obviously, who has no range attack. Okay, so this is a really important combo to break with the Necrons. You've got to get through this when he's got the double Vanguard. So we're going to make use of Ork Nob here. Doing our flanking. Again, Zagstruk can just clear this on his own. Super powerful, being able to get up to 4 and have the armor. Armor 2 in that case, right? He only took 1 damage doing that. Zagstruk's a beast. Even attacking into a 4-powered Imotekh, we only taking 2 damage here, and he's taking 4. And actually, we only took 1 because we had the Ork Nob, Boss Nob next to us, so we gained a health point back. So we took 1 damage from attacking into a 4 damage Imotekh. Isn't that crazy? Okay. Let's stick the Kommando down. We're going to do this again. 4 versus 4, but we only take 1. And Kommando gets a nice little health buff as well. And this is the point of the game where we're looking at it, we're like, well, we could use this to clear the Necron Lord, but do we really need to, or can we start to threaten lethal?
Your face is calling for a good clawing.
And we just go into face. You know, if the Necron Lord wants to get rid of the Boss Nob, no big deal. He needs a Vanguard to stay in the game, which he finds.
Going right on me pointy stick.
Now we go the Will of Gork. I mean, we could just hit the Kommando into the Lich Guard and then Wallbite, to be honest. But we went with a Will of Gork player into Wallbite. It doesn't really matter. Clear the board and clear up. Gee. Okay, we've got Magus again. Magus is a very top tier deck at the minute. We're going to run the Slump Overkill again. So we're just going to armor up and hit. Not much to see here. He's going to use hero power. We're going to use the Tide of Muscle on turn 2 and draw some cards. Quite nice, like when you've got to get rid of the sabotage, when you've got the likes of Makari and this cheap Warlord power now, you can do a lot. I think that's what we're going to do. Yeah, jam communications, got Makari. Put a bit of pressure on. Next turn we should be able to play the Stormboys out. So we picked up the Grizzled Skarboy and we decided to sacrifice the tempo. We weren't too scared of this turn.
We bring you the Star Children's blessing.
Clear this one off and then basically Skorcha Assault here, I think. And then back to what we always do. The Makari.
Your fate is sealed.
Once all gets going, there ain't no stopping.
Bit awkward because we can't interact with the locust, but we're just going to play out a wide board. Got another. We actually missed our Warlord talent there, so we missed a point of damage. I think that was just me speed playing, being clumsy. No other reason there, to be honest.
Let's earn our divine.
Are you ready? I go boom.
So getting to this stage of the game and being relatively healthy does make that card a lot less threatening. You know, once you're down to 10 health, like, you're just terrified of that card. Really didn't do a lot there. Quite happy for him to use it in that way. Then we'll just refill the board, I think, with Stormboys. Put our Makari out. Do our thing. Okay, pulls off a little combo. It's obviously pretty easy for us to remove the Gene Stealer here. And then use Mukkin About to kill the big guy. Yellow Morph. You're no more. And then we actually drop a Boss Nob here. Just put a beefy body down. No point in just playing Makari there, really.
Praise to the master below. The Grizzled Bit and I have created such wonders to fuel our ascension. To me, children of the Grizzled Bit.
He's going to take another 3 damage. Down to 13 health. So we're going to Skorcha Assault. We got fairly lucky there with the 4. And we're going to armor up. And he's got a lot of health to get through. I mean, Zagstruk is terrifying at this point, right? Because with Makari and the hero power, right, we can be a 4 attack flying attacker with 3 armor. Like, just throw him into anything to help remove stuff.
None can deny the Star Children's deliverance.
Now, we just lost Proper Killy. Proper Killy just got more milled there. Obviously, we only run 1 copy of it, so we don't have the usual reach. So we do go with the Kommando turn here. And he drops this guy down. Vanguard. So he's definitely blocked the Kommando. So we're going to just go ahead with the old trusty Will of Gork. So we took the chance to heal and stun.
I fail, yet under
Yeah.
take my place.
He's had enough. Okay, so we're just going to keep the Stormboy and the Tiger Muscle in this one. 1 copy's enough.
Your horde is beyond salvation, and thus must be expunged.
Ravage of the Orks.
So just worse temper. Not much else to do here.
The Grizzled Bit and I have created such wonders to fuel our ascension.
So we would have tied a muscle, but obviously we've got to get rid of that. So we do, and we hit worse temper. And I think we also think about using the extractor rig here, because it just says your next vehicle. It's not this turn, so you can play this early. And it just frees up my hand, because if he's going to be clogging us up with sabotage, it's just something to think about. Ideally, we want to drop the Stormboys next turn. Especially now he's attacked, we sort of can do.
gets going, there ain't no stopping.
Yeah, drop both of those, attack this guy. Nexus of Devotion. That helps him clear, well as heal, but clear the Stormboy. It's been a bad turn for him. Didn't have anything else to use his 3 energy on. We're just going to heal up. Worst temper. Attack. Backstab, here we go.
Kindred, at the ready. The plan moves forward.
Okay, so I think you look at our hand, none of the flankers can obviously do anything to this guy, so I quite like to Irongob here. This is a good counter to stealth. Just take the turn to heal. Stun the Warlord and go, okay, what do you want to do now? Do you want to hit me and stun yourself? He does. So the thing is, we take this one out, and now obviously the blast will take the Nexus out. So the Nexus is as good as destroyed here, because it can't attack, because it stunned itself. It's just a clean-up operation here. It's the attack with the range attack. Both fronts.
So comes the moment of deliverance. Give praise to the master below.
Nice. Helps him clear off the Veteran Stormboy. So here we can Snazzwagon with Makari and the Pyrotechnics, and should be able to clean up while still putting a bit of damage on face. Snazzwagon hit the outside one. Almost a rerun of last turn, isn't it? Well, now that the Warbiker's arrived, we can just use the Veteran Stormboy to just get rid of this guy. And because we played the Warbiker first, it triggered fast, and now it can just go in with Makari to win the game. GG. So there we go, guys. I do think the Zag deck is very powerful. I think Zagstruk is alright now. You know, the slightly cheaper Warlord power does make a difference. It's not a mind-blowing difference, but it does add up. We have a fair amount of fairly expensive removal in the deck, and so like being able to use this for one, and like I say, once Makari's down, being able to get like 4 attack with at least 1 armor, if not more, depending if you've played the Grizzled Skarboys. It just makes him a removal machine, and obviously late game you can start hitting face with the Proper Killy. So I actually really like this deck. I've already said, like, you can obviously swap out Rok Invasion or Proper Killy if you want. The other techs that you could do if you wanted to drop like Pyromaniaks, maybe 1 Skorcha Assault, you can put in the Grot mobs, the 3-drop Gretchen mob where you get 3 Vanguards, and even Ada's Nails if you really need to. But I don't feel like Zagstruk needs Ada's Nails because, as I say, he's the second most resilient of the Ork Warlords anyway with the armor, so I feel like his health is a bit less under threat. But you can always do that if you find that you kind of need that extra defense. And of course you can run Ard Shell instead of Kommando if you don't like the Kommando, but I really do recommend giving it a try. Particularly like it right now. So there you go, guys, that's the deck. Hope you enjoyed that one. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, I am going to be going on holiday very soon. I'm going off to Lanzarote for a while, so do expect a little break in the content. But yeah, appreciate all the support, and we are now up to almost 2K subscribers, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and look forward to bringing you more Warpforge content going forward. Take it easy, guys.